attenuate light is clear from the sense of our training and our studies, because we have to compress. I cannot. I've lived in before, or a prison, so I know what it consists of. It consists of different groups, people who have different ways of life, and then each person stays on their side, and everyone just looks dumb infinitely. Meaning, if you watch just the whole duality thing and where it leads, it goes nowhere. So it means that the metamorphosis has to take place within us in order for us to see something different. And that's what I actually take serious. I'm like, okay, I'm serious now, because I had a time in my life personally where I had to get rid of
everybody on my YouTube like watching me. And I just mean everybody that means something to me, because it's just you. But now you trying to put me in the dirt where I just came from. How can somebody say all this crazy shit like about you? It's like, whoa, lady, come on. We're supposed to be a team. We're supposed to be a family. I know all family don't stick together forever, obviously. But damn, why you trying to throw me back in jail? Like I'm not a man. Like I don't even take care of my kids. Like I ain't put a house in a car and all that stuff that y'all enjoy. Or what y'all know.
Really serious. It like meant between life or death for me is how I see life and death, because there's something worse than death. Prison. Prison is like infinite death. It's like you can't go anywhere, but you're still alive. Imagine, especially if you're in a place that you don't want to be. This sounds like Free-Zion. This sounds like Earth sometimes. If we get trapped, if something webs, and that's why you watch all these webs, but if something webs our mind in, and then we can't get any further beyond that sphere, then you're like the real moth or the chrysalis, even now with a web around you. You're trying to get out, but you can't even get out. And so this is also the major thing about expanding, becoming expanded. This is why if you ever get an opportunity to go scuba diving, start to brave your fears of looking into things that are deep. Because what it does is just like a fish. If you stay into a small tank, you're very small. You don't have imagination. You just can't really gander beyond your current surroundings. But if you get put into this huge pool, then you grow bigger. This means you have to approach your fears. And you have to identify them from their core level, mainly through the elements. Are you scared of fire? Are you scared of water? Are you scared of air? Are you scared of heights? Deep water? And if you find that in there, that's when you're doing your own alchemy. That's where you're doing your own work. And that's why sometimes I'll know when everyone is listening based on the questions that they ask. Because if a person was really thinking about the entire conversation, especially from earlier today, they will want, well, what happened with Atlantis? Is Atlantis, if you're saying Atlantis still is around, what are they doing? What was extreme left brain logical? Did they go android? Did the Aryans go android? Did the lion people end up trading themselves? Or what happened to the dragon queens? And what happened to the hive mind? What became of it, the matriarch? Is it still around? Are the Amazons still here? Are they still fighting? You see, first of all, is that their phi? Is Wonder Woman carrying the pentagram because she's from Venus too? Is Venus Amor? Is Venus and Amor connected? Is that the sun? Why is Amor in Spanish mean love? First of all, who is love?
The stars are
Where does that name trace back to? So you have to start asking these questions. That's why you'll always find the keys in words of power. It's like everything. And why I started to crack into that, you're getting about 4 to 5 of the reality. But see, this is all real framework, the beings that we're dealing with. When I saw how far I was able to go, it only made me shudder at the thought of how far something else could have gone, especially if they knew what they were doing. That's how you just reverse engineer the whole thing. But what I saw was that if you see about 4 to 5% of the stars, and that's because what the stars really are, what these portals really are, is they're emitting the programs. And let me explain how this works. Now, when you're dealing with the core programs, like the core elements, these are the most, as a builder, these are the most difficult elements to deal with. And it's because they are firm in what they are. Fire, earth, wind, water are firm. And now you must mix them and make them together. So this is like literally every time you would pour them together as an alchemist, they would explode, destroying you too. You see what I mean? So only the masters could work with the four elements. So what everyone else chose to do that was still in this craft of what would be organic technology was they used pre-configured frequencies. Okay, it's easier to see deities as that they are pre-configured complex frequencies. They're not just fire, earth, wind, water, and different variations. They got attitude. And this is because they lived through different experiences where fire mixed with wood, water, and then that married this family. Now you get this being, okay? And this is how the Kemetans were building realities, is because they would take a more complex being to bring an entire frequency into a reality. So just like in this reality of Earth, I can explain every single thing going on here within 4 archetypes. One is the goddess Leb. She's Sophia. She's a lioness. This is the secret to the Sphinx. We are inside of her dream, which is inside of her womb. And her consciousness is basically constantly devoted to dealing with these badass kids.
Especially not you.
Now, the other thing I want you to understand about all these things, like the sun and the moon, they all have two sides. Anything in physicality always has a positive and negative side. It just has more of a predominant side. That's why, just like us, we're male and female, primarily males.
I love my kids. I want my kids.
I will get my kids. Both poles. So that's Sophia. She's going to be always doing this, but her dream, remember, is big.
Believes in everything manifesting from within. This shit is not pretend. I'm just gonna sit on my YouTube all day waiting for somebody to come and say, hey, this is what I say. I just lost my job yesterday because I had to go to 2 restraining orders. It don't make no sense. When they had the date for 10 days, they just tell me the day before at 5 o'clock p.m. Gives me not even 20
Our knowledge is
hours
collective. We are all building something here. And when
Insane.
another person assesses what another man and woman may have learned or experienced, we add that to our experience. And then we formulate an entirely different outlook on the reality. And we innovate. That's what I want the key word to be. So what's happening is that there is something that unites us all, okay? And this is from the black man, all of the white man, to the white woman, to the black woman, to the Chinese woman, to every single species that lives on the earth, even the animals, okay?
Right.
And that this being, or this story, or just this world, and hence that unites us, was actually the ancient tradition that everyone was on, from Ireland all the way to West Africa, before the pole shift, okay? And then the pole shift is very easy to understand like this. If everyone is, let's say, in an understanding of the mother, okay, which is really water, and they are tuned in with that, that's the lifestyle that everyone is living, everything is centered around that. What a pole shift causes is that all of a sudden, over a short gradual period, everyone will be tuned into the sun all of a sudden. So in a sense, the mother is the foundational teachings and happenings and things that we go through first. And then when there's a pole shift, it's deemed, okay, it's enough water for them. Now it's time for some fire. Let's bring in the sun. And then what happens is all the belief systems and the traditions and things, they all change. And that's how these societies work, is they basically go in successions of fire and water. And what we're calling ancestors and what we're calling ancients are really the energies that are associated with bringing about these transformations. But they're not impersonal, meaning that these beings are more alive than we are, even, because they contain more of the genetics, more of the DNA, and more of everything that makes us that we still don't even really understand yet. Okay?
Okay.
So I can only begin this story from the ancient Nomal traditions, the ancient Irish traditions, ancient Norse traditions. So in every single ancient tradition, you'll see them mention first the arrival in this world of a being that was known as the twin. Okay, and this became to the to the Dogon, the Nomal.
Okay.
And that this particular being was known to be androgynous because androgyny in the physical reality is the sign of immortality. Okay, so just as everything happens on another level before it actually happens here, when it does happen here, it is basically a reflection of what was something else much further into other spheres. That makes sense to you, correct?
That makes sense, yes.
So in a sense of, instead of looking at it directly like, okay, hermaphrodite, maybe someone homosexual, maybe someone's a dyker, that's just too much brain job. Just look at it as the conversion of a being that is immortal on another plane. If they did appear in physicality, they would be androgynous. And the reason is because it's a statement saying that I don't need to go anywhere to reproduce myself. I don't need to go to anyone to reproduce myself. I can reproduce from myself. I am immortal. And that's what you find in the ancient tradition, especially the Kemetan traditions, where they call them self-propelled beings. I like the term, but it means a being that basically can turn itself on, that can keep, regenerating itself. Okay, and this is also known as being parthogenic.
Right.
So this parthogenic being, also known, we'll just call it as the nomo, which was a symbol for water, contained all of the DNA that we're looking at here on the planetary system. And so that also made its form quite strange, because it was like really a composite being. It had the DNA, or actually it's easier for me to explain the characteristics. The characteristics was generally, because the male and female was in the same body, generally it was depicted that the head was also on the same body, which would be quite disturbing to look at for the concepts that we're into today. In addition, that the bottom half of this, the reason why it was scaly, fish-like, or serpent-like, which this being later on